Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. I'm back, I'm alive, and today, to bring you the first video in a few months, I'm joined by my good friend, a colleague of mine, Newcastle fan, Geordie, Jack Cunningham. Jack, how are you, my boy? Everything
I'm
okay?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, it's too hot for me though. Today is too hot for me. This is brutal. But yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to the season getting going. I'm sure you're the same as well. After you're jolly away for the whole summer, so
Well, listen, you said it. I mean, I wasn't going to mention it, but yeah,
yeah.
part of
No,
the
no, mention it,
reason
mention it,
you
mention it.
got to mention it, in your chat.
You
It'd be
gotta
rude
mention
not
it, man.
to. Part of the reason I have been a bit absent is because I've been away working at the World Cup with Talksport. But look, the season is upon us. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate you. But the season's upon us. Transfers have been happening throughout the World Cup, to be fair. So it's only right that it's time to hop back on it. Time to talk mainly Arsenal, but some Premier League football as well. And one thing I want to do this season a bit more is talk about other clubs. And that's why I've got Jack on the channel, huge Newcastle fan. Go check him out. He's all over Talksport, writes articles online as well. So yeah, Jack will put his plugs in towards the end of the video. So you'll have to watch to the end to find those out. But Jack, obviously the elephant in the room, we nicked your captain. All right, we nicked your captain. I've been there. All right.
Let's just put it out there. Yeah,
Let's
Nick the
not beat around
captain,
the
he's
bush.
gone.
I've
Yeah.
been there, mate. I've had Cesc Fabregas taken, Van Persie. It happens, mate. All right? I know how you're feeling, but just firstly, what were your initial reactions when Bruno sort of joined Arsenal? Obviously, it was sort of the worst kept secret that Arsenal were going to sign Guimaraes. But what were your thoughts and what kind of player have Arsenal signed, man?
Well, did you not find the reporting of it mental? Like so weird. Like you had like the northeast journalists being like, "Yeah, there's no contact,
It was
like."
weird.
It was so strange, and I think it's
Yeah,
just that annoyed Newcastle fans more than anything else because, well, what do you believe? Like
yeah,
it's very easy to, as a Newcastle fan, think that the maybe the southern media are trying to push this agenda and not actually nothing's happening. When in the
yeah.
end, of course, something was happening, and it just annoyed me, to be honest. But in terms of like him leaving, and obviously we're getting at how he is as a player, but in terms of him leaving, yeah, it kind of tarnishes legacy for me, just
Ooh,
because I think that right, well, one, he brings in Kia back, who he only ever hires when he's looking to make a move. So I was like, right, well, that's all right, that's
when you
dodgy.
get
I
the
mean,
super agents in, it's
and once you
getting
get the
into
super agent
yeah.
in, man, not happy with that really. And they turned up for the pre-season training camp a little bit late, fair enough, whatever. But I think the main thing was that look, Tonali and Gordon go. He's meant to love Newcastle. He's meant to be this adopted Geordie, and I would really like the skipper to say, and I can see this. The club's in a bit of strife here. I'm going to stick it out and give you one more year of my
Mm.
time. He still had 3 years left on his contract, but it was 2 years and an option for the third, which obviously the option would have been triggered. I think that Bruno, as I said, we'll get into as a player a little bit more, but he has not got legs at all. He hasn't got legs to lose. So next summer, I still think after another great year for Newcastle, he would have had all the big clubs in for him again. Maybe Arsenal would have moved on because Arsenal probably would have had to sign someone else. So it just tarnishes his legacy a little bit. It's not on like an Isak level.
Yeah.
Speaking to a lot of Newcastle fans about it, they're very much a divided opinion on it. I think that there's some who feel like he is a rat and he is going to get booed when he comes back to St James's Park, and there's other people who appreciate that he did give everything for us, and in the end we couldn't match his ambitions. So, and I appreciate all sides of the argument. I think it's a very complex situation. I think every fan has every right to feel how they want to feel over this.
Well, Jack, just on that, you say he tarnished his legacy, and it's interesting because, as I mentioned, Fabregas and Van Persie, they're similar because it's your captain, your best player, your most important, your talisman, leaving when you need them the most, and it's sort of like part of you almost understands why they're leaving, but because you love the club and there's that sort of unconditional love that you almost are blinded by it. Whereas these players who aren't from London or from Newcastle, they don't have that same affinity with the club. And Bruno Guimaraes turns 29. It was well documented when we were chasing him. And as you said, Arsenal might not have been in for him next summer because of that, because of his age. Do you feel like with Isak, his age, I think, was maybe what rubbed Newcastle fans out the wrong way. You were still in European football, just won a trophy. It wasn't like Newcastle were in a bad moment when Isak left. But for Guimaraes, you've seen the club sell Anthony Gordon, Tonali. he's at the year before. Surely, as I know it's hard to look at it as a neutral, but just taking away your undying passion for the club, can you sort of understand why Guimaraes wanted to move?
No, yeah, I understand it. I do understand it because I appreciate that this is a big chance to go to the Premier League champions and probably win another Premier League and some other big trophies, probably because Arsenal are strengthening from a position as champions. I think it's just
Yeah.
more the reason it's different is because with Isak, right? As much as I think he enjoyed being at Newcastle, I think he had a good time on Tyneside. He never made it out as if he was an adopted Geordie, but Bruno did. Bruno went
Okay.
all in on the way that he was with the fans, constantly kissing the badge, after we won the Carabao Cup,
Yeah.
saying how he wanted to be a legend of the club, write his name in the club's history. And he has because he captained Newcastle to a trophy. But his legacy is tarnished now. I'm not sure he's going to be seen in the same light as he maybe would have been if he had given us one more year, especially in the situation we're in. And I think he would have gone with a lot more well wishes next summer. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans have had a go at me saying, "Oh, you would have come up with an excuse next year," and I'm sure some people would have done.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
would
but
have.
I
Trust me,
no,
you would have.
yeah,
You would
yeah.
have.
I knew what I might have done as well. But what I will say is, I do think it would have been a lot more. I think it would have been a lot more amicable and more like, yeah, no, you. Thank you very much. I still thank him for what he did give us. It's just
Yeah.
maybe the position we're in right now. I could do with the captain staying for another season.
It is, Jack. When I look at the difference between Fabregas and Van Persie, Fabregas left to join his childhood club Barcelona. Van Persie left to join one of our oldest rivals, Man United. Do you think if maybe Bruno had been snapped up by a Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Bayern Munich, do you think it would have been easier to stomach? Because for some reason, Arsenal and Newcastle over the last 3-4 years, and Bruno is partly to blame, by the way. We've developed this sort of heated rivalry where whenever we play each other, it feels like it's Newcastle's biggest game, then it feels like it's Arsenal's biggest game. We hate playing Newcastle. It's always a good game for the neutral, I imagine, but there's just always this feeling that Newcastle and the Geordies are up for it a little bit more. It's well documented the sort of battles between Bruno and Rice, and Bruno's been talking about, they're friends now and they're not going to fight anymore. But do you think because he's joined a team in the same division, a team that there is a little bit of heat and spite for, that's why it sort of has hurt a little bit more?
Yeah, Rom, I think you make a really, really good point. I do. The Newcastle Arsenal rivalry is quite funny. I do want to touch on that a little
Yeah.
bit because I think that you go back to sort of, I think you just got beat 3-0 by Spurs to essentially end your Champions League hopes, and then you rocked up at St James's
Yeah.
Park, second last game of the season. It was our last home game of the year, and we absolutely battered you 1-2-0. And
That was that
essentially
Amazon
that was you done.
documentary year, weren't it?
Yeah, it was.
That was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
year when we was doing
Arteta
the
kicking
doc.
off in
Yeah.
the yeah, Arteta kicking off in the away dressing room, which is still absolute crap at St James's Park, but that's great. And then you go to the season after where there's the 0-0 at the Emirates, where the ball was in play for about 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's
I
the
remember,
1-0 at St James's Park, where Willett kept the ball in play. We put the cross in. Gabriel wasn't fouled, and Gordon tapped it in. Arteta absolutely lost it.
it was a
after the
foul for
match.
me, Jack.
Wasn't
I
a
knew
foul,
you was
mate.
gonna
Wasn't
say
a
it
foul,
wasn't a
mate.
foul.
But I'll tell you
Right, we
what,
saved that.
Bruno should have been sent off though. With the elbow on Jorginho, he should
Yeah.
have been sent off for that. So I'm sure now you think Jorginho
Yeah.
ran into his elbow. Yeah, I get it.
What's his head doing next to his elbow, Jack, mate? Come on, think of your teammates, think of your camaraderies, mate. Come on. But yeah, no, you're right. It is funny that the Newcastle Arsenal rivalry is built up, and it will be interesting to see. Because I know you said some Newcastle fans said they'll boo Bruno, some said they'll welcome him back with open arms. I'm a little bit nervous. I said to you in the office the other day, I'm a little bit nervous to see that first challenge that goes in on Bruno. But obviously Bruno joins the champions. Feels good saying that, Jack. First time I've been able to say that in my life, to be honest.
No,
going
yeah,
into
fair
a new
man, fair man.
season.
Yeah.
It feels good. So to get the captain of one of the best teams in the league, it's sort of Sir Alex Ferguson stuff, where you look around the league and you sort of, nick a player from, your sort of Aston Villas, your Newcastles, your Evertons. If you can get one of their best players, they're usually one of the better players in the league. That's why it's so hard to get them. And do you think just that's actually made me think of a question for you. You see, like when Jack Grealish left Aston Villa and he joined Man City, and some Aston Villa fans don't forgive Jack Grealish for that. Some Everton fans weren't happy when Wayne Rooney left Everton for Man United. Do you think it's a thing for those sort of big clubs? You know, those the big, like I just said, Everton, Villa, Newcastle. These big clubs that aren't always in the Champions League feel like their players sort of owe them that loyalty. Because although you're not guaranteed to be challenging for league titles, the fans love you. They'll sing your name every week. If you retire, you'll be welcome back. Do you think it's a sort of weird place to be for those sort of clubs?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's another good point because I think that ultimately those clubs have ambitions to be
Yeah.
consistently in Europe, consistently challenger for the big stuff. So when you buy these players, you sell them that that is the idea. You tell them that this is the destination. It's not a stepping stone. This is the destination. This is where, when the takeover happens, Newcastle was selling the club as this is where you become a legend. You will be here for years and years and years. Like how Manchester City had David Silva for so long and Yaya Toure for so long and Kevin De Bruyne for so long. But of course, because of the way the landscape works financially, it hasn't worked out like that. So I think that is a good point. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bruno Guimaraes, he joins a stacked midfield, a stacked squad. I think it's harsh to say on, the likes of Zubimendi and Lewis Skelly, but I feel like Declan Rice and Bruno Guimaraes is the strongest two centre midfielders you can play together. What sort of, how high of a level is Arsenal's midfield now with Bruno Guimaraes in it? When you look at what we have, Miles Lewis Skelly in there, of course, as well, Mikel Merino, Martin Odegaard, Eze. As a rival fan, how do you look at Arsenal's midfield now?
Yeah, so I think Rice and Guimaraes is the best pivot in the league. Like, hands down. I don't think there's one that comes anywhere close to it. I think Manchester City, obviously, if Rodri was staying, you'd maybe put Rodri and Anderson in there, but Rodri's leaving, so I'm going to say no on that one. I don't think one comes close. I mean, Chelsea, what, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo? I don't rate Enzo Fernandez. No. So Rice as the actual six and Bruno as the eight will unlock the centre of the pitch for Arsenal, which is something that Arsenal really struggle with. They really struggle with that central progression and being able to create opportunities through the middle of the pitch or create space in the middle of the pitch to then move it out wide and then create opportunities through that. Arsenal seem to play around people quite a lot. I've seen it numerous times at Newcastle as well. It's just Arsenal have high quality players, so eventually you do break them down. But Bruno, if he's playing on the right hand side or the left hand side, whoever the wingers are, whoever the 10 is, they are going to feast on some magnificent through balls. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes started as a six, and if you want to play him as a six, he'd still be excellent at it as well because he's very good at going getting the ball back, finding space, and then working the ball around from there. But it is further forward where he will unlock teams like so well. Like, there's a pass it plays quite often, which is always in between the left-sided centre back and the left back, and he always just gets it perfect. It's always just in behind for whoever's running in behind. I really feel as if Bruno will, when you come up against these teams who are going to sit back against you, which basically everyone will,
Yeah.
he will be the one who'll have the keys. He'll be the one who'll be able to find Ezra in the pockets. He'll be the one who'll be able to find Saka in the pockets. And also, he gets goals. He gets goals as well. He got 9 goals last season in the Premier League. Penalties, headers, last-minute winners, shots on the edge of the box. He gives everything on the pitch. Every single minute he's on there. Because even though he's very slow, because that's probably his only real weakness, he covers every blade of grass still. Tackles, interceptions. He's everywhere. He'll die on the pitch for Arsenal.
All right, people, as you can see, there has been a change of location. Jack's moved places, I've moved places. Believe it or not, this has been a 2-hour ordeal. And Jack, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry I dragged you through this.
It's all right, man. It happens. Look, we've both had stinkers. I think is the word. There's been no encouraging signs. I think is the key thing.
No encouraging signs, nothing to go off. But fingers karma for me getting Jack to sit down and talk about Bruno Guimaraes again. But before we move locations, Jack, I think you was just talking about how effective Declan Rice and Bruno Guimaraes can be in that double pivot, and I agree, man. I think Declan Rice is a class player. I think he's a key reason as to why we finally won the league for the first time in 22 years. And I think Bruno, I think that's quite similar. Similar in terms of they can do a little bit of everything. They can get about the pitch, they can defend, they can score, but they can also create goals and stuff like that. So I think with Bruno joining, I think you're right. I think it will allowed Declan Rice to improve. It'll be interesting to see if Bruno plays as a 6 or an 8. I personally think he'll alternate with Rice. I think they'll swap. I don't think it'll be one or the other. I think Tonali and Guimaraes done similar things. Linton as well at Newcastle midfield. It was like a midfield of Swiss Army knives. Whatever they wanted to do on the day, they would do it. So it'll be interesting to see how Rice and Bruno link up. But Miles Lewis-Skelly, talk to me about that. What can he learn from Bruno Guimaraes?
Oh, interesting, because obviously Lewis Skelly isn't leaving Arsenal, I assume. I think it would be
Thankfully, thankfully.
yeah, it would be a mistake to let him go. I mean, I've got to be honest, I don't rate him at left back. I think he's a very poor left back, but I do
No,
see him in
no.
midfield as a very good player in midfield. I think that one thing he's going to learn from Rice already is, of course, like the defensive side of the game. But I think with Bruno, what he's going to learn is Bruno probably take him under his wing. I think he will happily guide him on and off the pitch because, look, Bruno was our captain and he did take on that role. He did put a lot of effort into Lewis Miley, for example. He would big him up, I think, in the media quite often. I think what Lewis Skelly can learn from Bruno is that getting on the half turn and pulling the ball forward. I think that Lewis Skelly is a very good carrier of the ball. I think that is progressive passing is something that you can clearly see can do. He just might need a little bit of confidence, a little bit of guidance on that. So that I can see Bruno helping him with that. Look, I think Bruno will be ultimately a wonderful addition on and off the field for Arsenal because ultimately he is a leader and he does care and he is a winner. Like he fights for every single ball, he fights at every single moment. He is on that football pitch. He will give you everything, and that's why Newcastle fans fell in love with him, and I'm sure Arsenal fans will also fall in love with him as well. Unfortunately.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is just respects to Jack. Very calm, calculated. Newcastle fan gets it, gets that. Players don't stay forever. You're not under any illusions there. Of course, we were Premier League champions last season. Adding Bruno to the mix. Obviously, we signed Christos Solis, the Greek international. Nkapie got made permanent. Elan Melia, backup keeper, won't probably play too much of a part. But when you look at Arsenal squad, still looks like we're going to bring in an attacker. I personally think we should try and get Barcola. I know it looks like he's Liverpool bound, but I'm not sure there's another left winger available in the market that will improve on Martinelli for the money. I just think some of the prices are ridiculous. But when you look at Arsenal's squad, adding Guimaraes into the mix, do you think Arsenal will go on and win the league again, Jack?
Yeah, I think this is I think this is going to be very comfortable this time.
Comfortable,
I think.
really?
Yeah, despite the fact Saliba obviously is out for a while, which is big. That is big, and Rice is well. We'll have to see how he is, and Saka as well. I think Bruno genuinely makes the difference. I think he will make it comfortable. Also, you've got to look at who else is competing, and what Manchester City have got Maresca in. Do I think Maresca's that good? No. I actually think Chelsea are going to be the ones who are going to be closest competing because Xabi Alonso has experience of winning a top European league. Chelsea have built a squad where they have two players in every position, basically. And I think without any European football for Chelsea, that front three of Rodgers, Palmer, João Pedro is extremely dangerous. But then you go to the wing backs, they've got Quenda, they've got Neto can play there. They've signed, who else is there? Lacroix is a really good signing for Chelsea. I think they're going to be your closest competitors. But I think in the league, genuinely will be comfortable. I think Arsenal will win by quite a distance. And I think in the Champions League, Bruno could be that one to unlock the door for you as well. I've got Arsenal. I think Barcelona are sort of favourites in a way, but if they sign Rodri, just Rodri's that important. And I think Real Madrid as well with the rebuild they're doing under Jose. But I think Arsenal probably, I'd put them in as third favourites maybe for the Champions League at the moment.
I mean, Jack, mate, there's spare seats. There's not many, but there are some seats at the Emirates if you're ever looking for, somewhere to watch a game of football, mate. We'll welcome you in, Jack, mate. I love it. I love it. And I know you're being honest. I know you're not just buttering me up. But I think you make a good point. Barcelona haven't won the Champions League for, I think, 10 years now. So with Rodri and the team, I think that they'll be quite a threat. Just whilst you're on, Jack, I just wanted to get your thoughts and feelings on Newcastle. Obviously, Guimaraes has gone, Tonali, Gordon, and the main man, Eddie Howe, has gone. How are you feeling ahead of Newcastle season? You've got the new man in. I'll let you say his name because it's a bit of a difficult one. But yeah, how are you feeling ahead of the new season?
Yeah, so Geisler, there you go. We'll get it in straight
Geisler.
away.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Geisler. Yeah, it sounds. I mean, just sounds brilliant. So German, it's class. Look,
Class.
I think how needed to go. It doesn't reflect necessarily on what he achieved at Newcastle. Just good things sometimes reach their end, and I think this reached its natural end. Like you could see a man who had given everything, every waking moment, and he was done. I think he was obviously being told that Tonali and Gordon were leaving, and then Bruno informed him that he wanted to go, and I think he thought that that's enough. Now, ultimately, Yice has come in and inherited a squad that desperately needs some additions. I mean, we got beat by Everton 3-1 in our latest pre-season game, and it was a quite pretty concerning performance, given that it was probably going to be the team that plays against Liverpool, bar a few additions. But I am excited about Geisler, but the excitement is purely based on us getting these players. And now it's not on him. It is on the board to deliver four more first team signings. If they don't do that, then I've got to be honest, I won't be judging Geisler at all, because I think he's essentially there with his hand tied behind his back, and he's just going to have to deal with what he's got. I mean, at the moment, we have not got a right back, so that's not good. We need to sort that out. But what I've seen from Iceland, what I've read about him, and obviously from Kev Hatchard, who of course colleague for us at Talksport as well. This is a guy who has managed two entirely different teams at RB Salzburg. It was like a young European side with like Shesko, Adeyemi, Okafor, Steervald, who've all gone on to play in big European leagues. Adeyemi's literally just joined Barcelona. They got it to the last 16 of the Champions League for the first time ever. And then he goes to Al Ahly, where it's sort of big egos, players who've won things and are on huge money. You got Mahrez, you got Firmino. Firmino's worked under Klopp. Mahrez has worked under Guardiola. And he gained their respect, and he gained their adulation, and he got them to win back-to-back Asian Champions League, which is the first time a foreign manager has ever done that. So there's a lot there to work on from what I've seen already. It's extremely vertical play. Like, he just wants people running in behind, balls in behind. We've got a lot of very fast players who can do that, but they need the additions. If they don't get the key additions, then it will be a season of struggle, but it won't be on Geisler, it'll be on the board. If they get the additions, then it's on Geisler, and I actually feel we'll have a good season. But it's a big end of the transfer window for Newcastle.
Nice bit of knowledge there. This is why it's always good to get fans and broadcast them from other clubs, people, because I didn't know he was a manager at Salzburg. And to be honest, that's actually given me a little bit more excitement to see what he can do, because obviously you said a few names there. Sesko, Erling Haaland came from there. Naby Keita played. It's a club that know what they're doing in terms of players and managers. So yeah, I think you've got every reason to be excited, and we'll see when Bruno comes to St James's Park in November how he gets treated. But I'm sure it'll be a good game anyway, Jack. Look forward to that. We'll catch up then again. But before I let you go after this 2-hour recording, my apologies again, brother. Honestly, mate. People, I've had such a man, but Jack's been so patient. Like, big up Jack, man. This is my guy. But yeah, just wanted to play a quick game of blind rank Premier League
Class.
centre midfielders. So I won't tell you who's in it, but you've got to just decide them. It's a top 5. So first up, Jack, blind rank in Premier League central midfielders, Bruno Guimaraes.
3.
3. Okay. Next up, Declan Rice.
2.
What does Guimaraes have to do to get above Rice, do you think? Do you think him playing alongside him will help?
I think it's just the fact that Rice is a little bit younger. They're both totally different players. I think also Rice has just got that little bit of extra legs. Apart from that, but Bruno's more creative player, absolutely, and he could play for any team in the world, which he is going to be playing for Arsenal now. So yeah.
Moises Caicedo.
5.
Oh, not having Caicedo now, Jack.
He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. I think he's overrated. I do think he's overrated. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. We'll have to revisit that. Rodri.
1.
Yeah, how good is he, man? He's class, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a joke. Like, comes back from ACL. That ran the Spain midfield, ran it like against France, who everyone thought were going to beat Spain easily. I don't think anyone got near Rodri. And then in the final, very different game, he ensured that Argentina didn't have a sniff either. I mean, just an unbelievable player to come back from that injury, as I say. Honestly, what a guy. He's sensational. One of the best signings ever. You know, one of the best signings ever. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And lastly, McAllister in at 4. You happy with
He'll
that?
have to go in at 4. He'll have to go in at 4. I would have probably. I'm happy with my order. I would have probably swapped Caicedo and McAllister around. That's it. Because I think McAllister, the year before last, was brilliant. Like, so good for Liverpool in the year they won the Premier League. Like, he was amazing. Easily one of the best midfielders in the league. But last season, total drop off. He was good at the World Cup though, so maybe that'll be him back. But yeah, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. I'm quite happy with that. I've done all right there, I think.
Yeah, Jack, I like it, mate. Well, if Rodri does leave, that leaves Arsenal with the 2 best centre midfielders in the league, according to Jack. And we'll take that, mate. That's given me a little bit of confidence for the end of the season. Yeah, but thank you for joining me, Jack. That's it. It feels like there should be more for how long we've spent recording this. All I needed to do was move rooms, and my laptop started working again.
It's all good.
But now, Jack, where can people find you? Let them know, because you're a very busy man. So just let them know where to look out for you, mate.
Yes, on Twitter, I'm at Jack Cunningham 96 or X, or even I call it, whatever Elon Musk calls it these days. And then on Insta, I'm Jack.Cun96 as well. So, and then obviously I'm usually on Talksport Newcastle channel as well, because I'm the only one who talks about Newcastle at Talksport. So there we go.
Nah, but you're also very good, mate. He's also on the sports bar. Look out for him. He's a humble boy, but he's doing very well. I'll give you your flowers if you don't give him yourself, mate. To keep up what you're doing. And yeah,
Cheers,
we'll
man.
have you back on the channel soon. But people, I'm back. More content coming, more videos coming. Forgive me for the little summer hiatus. But we're back, and hopefully it's another title winning season. But until next time, people, like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you then. Peace.